गाइस, जब मैं सीएस किया करती थी उस टाइम पे मैं सर्च किया करती थी कि इंडिया के टॉप सीएस कौन कौन है, एंड मुझे पता चला कि सीएस देव वाजपेयी सर इज वन अमॉन्ग्स देम। गाइस, वो सिर्फ एक कंपनी सेक्रेटरी ही नहीं बल्कि एग्जीक्यूटिव डायरेक्टर भी है ऑफ वन ऑफ द टॉप एफएमसीजी कंपनीज, दैट इज हिंदुस्तान यूनिलीवर लिमिटेड। एंड गाइस, इस पॉडकास्ट में मैंने उनसे सारी चीजें पूछी हुई है कि कौन से स्किल्स एक सीएस में होने चाहिए जिससे वो हमेशा टॉप पर रहे, इस कॉम्पिटिटिव इरा में कैसे सरवाइव करना चाहिए, सीएस का आगे क्या स्कोप होगा, कौन सा इमर्जिंग ट्रेंड है सीएस का, पर्सनैलिटी डेवलपमेंट कैसे करनी चाहिए एंड व्हाट नॉट। सो गाइस, दिस पॉडकास्ट इज फुल पैक्ड विद कंप्लीट नॉलेज एंड गाइडेंस फॉर CS fraternity by CS Dev Bajpai itself. Sir, thank you so much for accepting my request. So I'm very much sure that this is going to help a lot of students, and I do have a lot of questions from you, but I won't take much of your time. So my first question, which I asked to each of my guests, is that why you chose CS and do you regret choosing CS?
So thank you for having me. I come from a very grounded middle class family with middle class values. We were taught early in our lives to be always compliant with regulation, to be law-abiding citizens. I have a family that has either civil servants or people from the legal field in the judiciary. We have always been told to live within our means and have highest respect for law. It is also not a coincidence to say that the place where I was living in Delhi was very, very close to the Institute of Company Secretaries, and I was always curious to know what happens in that institute, and I was fascinated by what work the institute was doing. So therefore, for me, it was going to be either civil service or a career in law, and I thought that company secretaries would be a course which would complement my career in law. And that's why I started pursuing company secretaries. Yeah. And I don't regret it at all, because it's been extremely fulfilling journey as a company secretary. In most places that I've worked, I have doubled up as company secretary as well, apart from being the general counsel and doing other, managing other areas of work. So it's been very, very fulfilling. And I want to thank all my seniors and my teachers who helped shape my career.
That's so great to hear. So, sir, can I ask that you cleared in first attempt, or it took multiple attempts for you to clear this?
No, exam? I don't recall having clearing my groups in the single attempt. I probably took more attempts than one. Now I can't recall whether it was. I thought it was the final few groups in the final where I took more than one attempt to clear. And because I was also doing law from Delhi University, I used to oftentimes have a situation where the law exams and the company secretaries exams would either be on the same day or would be just on the next day. So I had to navigate through all that. But that's not an excuse for not clearing in the first attempt.
Okay, so it is a clear-cut message that attempts don't matter, in a corporate journey.
Not at all, because what you study when you are a student is very important, because it gives you a strong grounding and it makes you good, functionally good. But what you end up doing when you're working could be completely different, where a different kind of brilliance would be required. But like I said, clearing in first attempt or clearing in the second or third attempt makes little or no difference when you are actually in the job.
Okay, so sir, let's talk about your job. How was your journey once you cleared CS?
My journey was very nice, very fulfilling. I moved from one industry to another. I started with consumer durables. I moved to auto components and automobiles. Then I moved to FMCG. Then I did a little bit of private equity. I also did hospitality with the Taj before I came back to FMCG. This is the first time in my career that I came back to an industry where I had earlier worked. And I genuinely think that I do well in my current job because of what I've learned in the past. And working in different industries gives you a different perspective. You deal with different situations. You apply what you've learned in the past in another situation where you would be in the future. So it's been a very, very fulfilling journey.
I totally agree with that. But sir, I think you must have encountered certain challenges while pursuing this journey.
Every challenge has to be challenged because underneath every challenge there is an opportunity.
Hmm.
And there is no fun in life without any challenges. Like I say, every risk is a risk because it has a corresponding opportunity.
Hmm.
If there is no opportunity, then it isn't a risk. So if you work with that mindset, it helps you navigate through different situations. I've had a fair share of my challenges, but I've been able to deal with them because you have to believe in your own ability. You have to believe in leveraging the ecosystem. You have to work like a team, and you have to collaborate when required to deal with challenges because sometimes and most of the times challenges are such where you need support from people, and that's the job of the leader to really get support and involve everyone in dealing with challenges.
Great, sir. So, I got a different perspective of dealing with challenges by hearing you. So, you are associated with one of the top companies. So, what do you think that how the role of CS has evolved, and what skills a CS must have to, deal with this competition?
So look, company secretary's role has evolved a great deal, uh, and to a large extent, it is also on account of the external environment, the way things have shaped up, and the expectations have changed. To a large extent, it also depends on the incumbent, on the
Hmm.
individual.
Hmm.
What is she or he willing to do in addition to the core job of a company
Hmm.
secretary? But if I reflect back 30 years, I think from a very uh, compliant and a compliance
Hmm.
led role, the role has now become more of a business enabler, from something where compliance was center of stage. It is more collaborative in nature. From someone who was an individual contributor, it has moved to a more collaborative role.
Hmm.
So the company secretary's role has clearly evolved, and like I said, to a large extent, it also depends on the individual
Hmm.
how they would want to shape that role,
Hmm.
because in today's day and age, organizations are enabling, they permit you, they repose trust on you, they give you uh, boundaryless functioning, uh, and therefore it is for the company secretaries to take the ownership
Hmm.
and do more than what they would conventionally do in their
Hmm.
role.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I think over the years, company secretaries are now more integrated uh, with the business. They realize that corporate governance is something which always rewards. So if you are part of a company that where corporate governance at, is very high, or you are contributing to its enhancement in your organization, you will always get much better value. And
Hmm.
companies with good corporate governance, for which company secretaries to a large extent are responsible,
Hmm.
will always be valued significantly higher
Hmm.
than companies who are still in the catch-up mode. So I think over the years the role has evolved in the way that I
Hmm.
mentioned, and to a large extent I maintain that the individual herself or himself have also to contribute and
Hmm.
play a role
Hmm.
in
Hmm.
the evolving role of the company secretaries.
I totally agree with you, sir, and I got an different view of this our roles, especially after the enactment of 2013 Act.
Mm.
So, what about the skills that a student must have?
Look, skills apart from very good functional capability and functional skills and understanding of the subject that you deal with. I think it's more a mindset issue. You have to realize that you have to serve the business in a proactive and in a value-adding manner.
Okay.
You can't be a professional who is just focused on compliance. That is a given. That is something which you must do, but you have to add value on top of that. And therefore, company secretaries today can be part of the advocacy agenda with our country in the place that it is in. There are newer regulations that are being introduced. I think company secretaries have got a big role to play, not just in corporate laws, but on all the regulations that impact the organization that they serve. And instead of just being passive recipients of any regulation that comes about, they should actively be playing a role in co-creating regulation. And therefore, that requires a different kind of mindset, a more proactive approach to the work that you do, a more opportunity-seeking approach rather than just a risk-mitigating approach. There has to be a more opportunity-seeking approach. The company secretary should be absolutely aware of the latest developments that are happening, and I can, there are so many changes that are happening in our country when it comes to regulation and the regulatory process, whether it is regulations on AI, regulations on ESG, regulations on biodiversity, on foods, on so many other things, where I think company secretaries have to play a pivotal role. And like I said, they have to have a very proactive approach rather than reacting to situations. And because early on in their career, they are taught on law and its implications, this comes that much more closer and naturally to company secretaries, because they are also, they also have a good understanding of drafting and representing. That all helps the company secretaries in doing what they're doing, and they're doing it in a more creative and value-adding manner.
I totally agree with it, sir. We have to, enhance our boundary and just not limit ourselves to complying with the law. We have to also contribute to the business.
Compliance with law is basic, but contributing to business and the agenda, almost creating an agenda within the business agenda.
I totally agree.
And then ensuring that you do the right thing and in the right way.
Yeah, that's so true. So, sir, what are the 3 top qualities you consider in a candidate before selecting him or her for the job?
Any person whom I want to recruit, 2 things that I definitely look at is someone who's proactive. So apart from being functionally competent, someone who's proactive and not reactive, and someone who has an opportunity-seeking mindset instead of just having a risk mitigation approach to things. Because unless we start thinking on those lines and unless we start thinking out of the box, things you can't make significant changes. So if you want different outcomes, you have to do things differently, and therefore you can't think out of the box by being in the box. You have to be out of the box.
That's so true. So yeah, I think the viewers must keep in mind all these qualities before applying for a job. And sir, you must be having some hobbies, right, outside from this job and your corporate life. So would you like to enlighten us?
Yeah, I just try to be physically fit, and I think it's important that you remain fit, because unless you're fit, you can't really do your job very well. So I run, I go on long walks, I make it a ritual wherever I am in the world. If I stay 2 days in a country, I carry my running kit. So that's become a ritual for me for years. I read a lot. I like music. I hear a lot of music.
That's so great. I think we all make excuses for our gym, but having such a busy schedule, you manage to do all these things. That's really appreciated.
I try to do that.
Yeah. So by this, I have my another question is that how do you manage a work-life balance?
Look, work-life balance is an important thing, and I know that it's been recently a lot has been talked about it. But I genuinely believe that if you're fit and if you're fit enough to do work for longer hours, you should. And if you have enough time to pursue your hobbies, it's fine. So I don't really look at work-life balance in a very regimented way, but I do understand the importance of having a balance. I'm also learning. I don't
Oh,
claim that I have stuck an ideal work-life balance, which I've
oh,
not. But like I said, for me, it is important to be able to pursue my hobbies and to remain fit and yet do as much work as I can.
oh. So one last question. You have any particular advice for our viewers that are basically students who are pursuing CS course?
So look, I think two or three things which I have picked up. One is act with utmost integrity.
Hmm.
Always choose the path of the harder right instead of the easier wrong.
Hmm.
Do the right thing and do it right. Oftentimes, the distinction between right and wrong is clear, but how to do that right is not very
Hmm.
clear.
Hmm.
So that's why I say that do the right thing, but do it right.
Hmm.
And you are, you know, the only limitation that one would have is your own thinking.
Hmm.
Otherwise, in our country, which is now, uh, you know, uh, probably the fastest growing country
Economy,
in
yeah,
the
definitely.
world, there are so many opportunities, and company secretary's profession is no different. And you could only be limited by your own imagination. But
Hmm.
otherwise, I think these are some of my lessons in life,
Hmm.
which I think would apply also to your uh,
Viewers, yeah.
viewers.
Okay, sir, thank you so much for your time, and I believe this podcast is going to help a lot of students. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.